We've covered President Trump's attacks on the rule of law in many ways. I want to look at something that came out, interestingly, in our colleague NBC colleague Kristen Welker, I should say, her Meet the Press interview. This is new. And you have these questions about deportations, legal challenges, and Marco Rubio's comments that people, of course, inside the U.S. are entitled to due process.
Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said. What you said is not what I heard the Supreme Court said. They have a different interpretation.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear to preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
That is a constitutionally significant oath that the president takes, indeed, that all federal office holders take. So he knows, fact check, he must uphold the Constitution and the Supreme Court's rulings. I'll also note it's very common nowadays to sort of paint Donald Trump with one brush and talk about everything being so terrible. You'll notice something that also matters, which is he says, of course, he has to follow the Supreme Court rulings. A low bar and a baseline, but others have tried to claim illegally otherwise. He still knows that's at least a bad look, and he won't admit that. Now, that's his oath. Welker also asked about a separate illegal plan. And the context is, remember, Donald Trump didn't leave office peacefully. He, according to many, betrayed his oath of office when he tried to steal an election he lost. We all lived through it. There was a violent insurrection, and he affirmed that violence with the unprecedented pardoning of every individual convicted seditionist, people who attacked police, all of that. Then he said he wasn't joking recently after winning this election this year about ruling past 2029, not joking he wants a third term. That would be illegal and unconstitutional. The Supreme Court would not allow it. But here's how he's now softening that.
Are you seriously considering a third term, Mr. President, even though it's prohibited by the Constitution? Or is this about staying politically viable?
I will say this. So many people want me to do it. I have never had requests so strong as that. But it's something that, to the best of my knowledge, you're not allowed to do. I don't know if that's constitutional that they're not allowing you to do it or anything else, but there are many people selling the 2028 hat. But this is not something I'm looking to do. I'm looking to have 4 great years and turn it over to somebody, ideally a great Republican, to carry it forward.
Donald Trump backing down. If you take him at face value, if you believe he's telling the truth, he then would apparently, as president, be unaware that it is the Constitution that bars a third term. It is a constitutional amendment. It came about after FDR did pursue extra terms during World War II. And then, to clear up any doubt, it was passed and amended through the Constitution. So it can't be canceled by any Congress, any law, certainly not any president. That's what it sounds like when apparently the pressure works and the president, who isn't allowed a third term, finds that it would be risking a lot of blowback to keep talking about something he's not allowed to do. He's also now, through this interview, suggested Vance or Rubio could be the person that runs in 28. That is fully legal and constitutional and perfectly fine. The pushback was strong, and there is a theme here. Donald Trump and especially his aides push farther than we've seen even in his first term, and let alone in traditional times. But when challenged, we see that sometimes it works, the combination of what happens in court and what we still call the court of public opinion. Indeed, on Friday, we convened a special discussion about this with some of our legal eagles, and DOJ vet Andrew Weissmann offered this advice.
If you want to be on the right side of history, you need to not be afraid. You need to speak. You need to be saying to people who want to use fear as a way to silence you that you still have a First Amendment right.
You have the right, you exercise it, and it matters. With that high-minded introduction, we bring in former federal prosecutor Joyce Vance. Welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I understand, as you do, we don't want to give out awards for people hitting the minimum bar, following rather than betraying their oath of office. But also, you're such a skilled practitioner in this field, both what you did in law and the DOJ, but also now, Joyce, it's been many years that you've been here in the public legal commentary environment. And what happens in public can matter in America. And it would seem that the public opprobrium, the rejection, not just from, say, the usual suspects, but really in general, to Trump's saying he wasn't joking about wanting an illegal third term, best we can tell, that has pushed him back, at least rhetorically. How do you see this whole evolution?
So I think you make a great point here that isn't being made enough, Ari. And it's that there are still guardrails for Donald Trump, but they don't exist inside of the White House. They exist, to put it precisely, in the court of public opinion. And, you know, like you say, there was outrage when Trump suggested a third term. Outrage from a lot of different places where Trump might not have expected to see it coming from, including former federal judges, including even some whispers from inside of his own party. And it's clear that he reacts to that he knows when a fight is too big for him to take on, and he will back down. He doesn't do it every time. You can't always tell when he's going to do it. But what it makes clear, and I think it's to Andrew's point from the tape that you just played, and he certainly is somebody who exhibits this in enormous quantities. People have to be unafraid to speak the truth. They have to be unafraid to tell a president that he must uphold the Constitution, that he swore an oath to do exactly that. And so that gives us marching orders for going forward. It's really important that we continue to have high expectations for a president of the United States, not just modest ones.
Well put. Another one of your counselor colleagues, Melissa Murray, had this to say.
They've attacked the courts to undermine the court's trust with the public for when the courts actually do speak. They are attacking the whole prospect of the nationwide injunction, so it's going to make it harder for people to challenge the administration's actions. They are subjugating law firms, and they are trying to attack public interest firms, too. All of that is about reducing the amount of legal resources available for this fight. It is not a coincidence. This is a strategy to make the law no longer work for the people.
Joyce?
So I agree 1,000%. Donald Trump is attacking the third branch of government, the judicial branch. And you do that not just by attacking the judges, but also by attacking the lawyers. Judges can't just wake up in the morning and decide that they want to issue an injunction or hold someone in contempt. Lawyers have to bring lawsuits first. That's how this system works. So when Donald Trump attacks the lawyers, he's attacking the judiciary. That's the only branch of government that has shown any will and any success at holding this administration in check.
Yeah.